Our final topic today is to talk about writing absolute value equations. So sometimes we will be given our solutions and we want to write an equation. So the way that we write an equation is in this format. We have the absolute value of x minus the halfway point. And the halfway point is the mean or the average of our two solutions. And then that is going to be equal to the distance to the halfway point. That is also sometimes known as the deviation. So keeping that equation in mind, let's take a look at our first example. In a cheer competition, the length of a routine is 4 minutes minimum and 5 minutes maximum. Write an absolute value equation to represent this. So we have 2 dots on our number line. We are starting with our number line here because we have our solutions. I'm going to blow this up a little bit so that you can see it better. So I'm going to take this and redraw it down here, kind of exaggerated so that you can truly see here is 4, here is 5, and these are our 2 points. So the first thing that we need to figure out is what is the halfway point between these. So we want this point right here where these distances are the same. So in order to do that, we just need to take the average. So our halfway point, or our mean, is equal to adding the 2 numbers together and dividing by the number of numbers, in this case 2. So our mean is equal to 4.5. So that's the point right in the middle. That's one of the things that we need in order to write our equation. The other thing that we need is the distance to the halfway point. So if we look at the value 4.5 and the value of 5, we know that there is a distance of 0.5 between those. If we look at 4 and 4.5, the distance between those, just subtracting, is 0.5. So that is our deviation. So now we have both of the things that we need in order to write an equation. Our equation is going to be equal to the absolute value of x minus the halfway point. Remember, that is the mean or the average, this number right here. And then that has to be equal to our deviation, or our distance to the halfway point, which is 0.5. This is our equation to represent the times for this cheer competition. Let's take a look at one more example. In this case, we are actually going to graph the points on a number line without going through isolate, separate, solve. And because we now know how absolute value equations are written, we can do that. Remember that we have x minus the halfway point is equal to the distance to the halfway point. So that means that 4 must be our halfway point. Just following the format. This is the halfway point. Notice that because there is a negative here in the equation, that same negative shows up here. So our halfway point truly is positive 4. It's not negative 4. So we can note that this is our halfway point. All right, so then our other number, our 2, must be equal to the distance to the halfway point. And so if I start at 4 and I go a distance of, starting at 4, go a distance of 1, 2, I can plot a point at 6. And if I go a distance in the other direction of 1, 2, I can plot a dot at 2. Again, this distance right here and this distance right here are both equal to my distance to halfway point of 2.